Was popping, was popping. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another episode of Life According to Rick podcast. It's your boy Rick. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to tap in today. And to all my day ones, y'all know the vibes. I appreciate the love and support always. Now, before we get into today's episode, I want to take a quick second and say happy birthday to my daughter Kiana. Keeks, I hope you have an amazing birthday. Watching you grow from a little girl into the woman you are today has been one of the greatest blessings in my life. You taught me about being a father. You taught me how to be patient. You taught me love. You've given me moments that I'll carry with me forever. And getting the chance to have you on the podcast and hear your perspective was something I always appreciate. Because sometimes, as parents, we don't always get to see things from our kids' point of view. So thank you for being a part of this journey. Daddy loves you, mommy. Happy birthday. Now, today's episode is going to be a special one. I've been thinking a lot lately, not just about this podcast, but about my life, the journey, the lessons, the mistakes, the growth. And to be honest, one word kept coming back to me: metamorphosis. Now, for those of you that don't remember from science class, metamorphosis is the process of transformation. When something changes from one form into another. And when I really think about it, that's what life is. We're constantly changing, we're learning, we're constantly becoming. And when I look back at younger Rick, I don't look at him with anger, or neither do I look at him with embarrassment. I look at him with understanding. Because that version of me didn't know what was coming. He didn't know the challenges. He didn't know the blessings. He didn't know the people who would enter his life and help shape him. But every version of Rick mattered. And keep it a book, when I look at this podcast journey, it's crazy. Because when I started Life According to Rick, I didn't know exactly what it was going to become. I just knew I wanted a place where I could tell my story, talk about my life, you know, talk about fatherhood, talk about the things that we all go through but don't say out loud. And looking back at these episodes, the conversations, the stories, having my family become a part of this podcast has become a reflection of my own transformation. When we're younger, you think you have everything figured out. You think you know exactly how life is going to go. And then life has a funny way of reminding you, yeah, you don't know as much as you think you do. Listen, I've made mistakes. And I made some choices I would have probably handled a whole lot differently today. But I also got to give my younger self some grace because he was learning, he was trying, he was becoming. And honestly, aren't we all? The biggest transformation in my life came when I became a father because nothing prepares you for that moment. The moment where you realize, like, this isn't about me anymore. There are little people depending on you, looking up to you, learning from you, and that changes you. Fatherhood forced me to grow at a really young age, forced me to become responsible. It even forced me to look at myself and ask, what kind of example do I want to be? And the crazy thing about being a parent is you're learning while you're teaching. You're raising kids while you're still figuring yourself out. And let's be honest, transformation isn't comfortable. Not at all. The hardest moments in life are usually the ones that change us the most. There were moments where I had to look at myself, my communication, my reactions, my choices, my relationships. And there were times I had to admit I could have handled that better. I need to grow in this area. I need to be better. And that's not easy. But accountability isn't about beating yourself up. Accountability is about being honest enough to change. I wasn't becoming someone else. I was becoming a better version of myself. One thing that I've learned is that transformation doesn't happen alone. People come into your life and they become a part of your story, whether it's temporary, whether it's, you know, for long term, whatever the case is. And I have to acknowledge my wife. Having her on the podcast was important because people got to hear another side of the story, not just my side, but her side. Because relationships aren't perfect, marriage isn't perfect. If those of y'all that are married, y'all know what I'm talking about. But growth definitely happens when two people are willing to listen, learn, communicate, and continue to choose one another. When I started this podcast, I thought I was creating a place where I could tell my story. Now, what I didn't realize was that my family will become part of that story. And honestly, that has been one of the greatest gifts. I had my son Little on the podcast. I had Kiana, my son Andy, even my daughter Layla, which I never thought was gonna happen, but we made it happen. And even Harlem's made his little cameos here and there. And that's what makes it special because this isn't just my story, it's our story. I honestly have to say that one of the biggest things that I've learned as a parent, we spend so much time questioning ourselves. Did I do enough? Was I there enough? Could I have done things differently? And sometimes we focus so much on what we think we missed that we don't recognize what we built. Hearing my kids talk about their experiences gave me a different perspective. 100%. They saw things that I didn't see. They remember moments that I forgot. They saw the love behind the struggle. And that means everything to me. Because if I'm being honest, and I probably touched base on this before on one of the on some of the previous episodes, but I was a different version back then. I was hurt. I had a lot of trauma, some unresolved issues, right? That's just a part of the journey. Now they get a different version of me. You know what I'm saying? More understanding, and now that they're older, we can have conversations and look back at everything and just laugh at that stuff. You know what I mean? Just kind of not dwell on it. For me, what's super dope now is that I get to see my older son Andy become a father. I get to see him with my granddaughter Araya, and that's a different kind of transformation because now I get to watch my son experience something that I've already experienced. I get to watch the next generation begin. And it makes you stop and realize, man, life really does move fast. And today, I'm still becoming. I'm not sitting here saying I have everything figured out, but I'm still learning and I'm still growing and I'm always working on myself. There's always room for improvement. I'm even still learning how to become a better husband, a better father, a better man. And Harlem reminds me of that every single day. That little man challenges me. He definitely tests my patience, but he also reminds me to be present because every stage goes by faster than you think. So if I could sit down with younger Rick, I wouldn't tell him not to make mistakes because those mistakes became lessons. I wouldn't tell him life would be easy because I'd be bullshitting if I said it was. Those hard moments build strength. And I would also tell him, slow down. love harder, be patient with yourself. Stop worrying so much about what people think. You don't have to have all the answers today because one day you're going to look around and realize the life you were worried about failing at became the life you were building. I used to think transformation meant becoming someone else, but now that I realize transformation means becoming more of who you were always meant to be. Every version of Rick mattered. The kid, the young man, the father, the husband, the person healing, and the person still learning. They all created the man sitting behind this microphone today. And that's the beauty of metamorphosis. This is Life According to Rick. I'll catch you guys next time.